Hello, welcome to Revive and Rise. I'm your host, Melody Parrish, and I thank you so much for joining us today. I have with me a very special guest, Mr. Beechy, and he teaches the warrior mindset. He is the author of a book, A Warrior's Path to Freedom. He teaches on the power of forgiveness and releasing your past. Mr. Beechy, I want to thank you so much for joining us today and offering your expertise.
Yes, absolutely. Good to be here, Melody. We just met briefly a minute ago, just for the first time here, virtually, I guess that is, to talk about trauma and overcoming addictions, etc. So I when I was 17 years old, I left home with a lot of hatred, revengeful, just a lot of revenge, carrying a lot of revenge and hatred in my heart. And from my teenage years towards my parents, towards my family, towards numerous people, and leaving home at 17 years old, I thought I was going to leave home, ran away from home, didn't tell my parents where I was going or anything. They didn't even know I was leaving until 24 hours later. They figured out that I'm nowhere to be found. And anyway, to kind of condense this story, I started my own business. I was 17 when I left home. Started my own business when I was 19, and in construction. And a couple of years later, after starting my business, I had a traumatic accident. Fell off of a roof. Fell about 14 feet, and damaged my spleen and punctured my lungs. Had 9 ribs that were dislocated, fractured, and created also tore my stomach away from my diaphragm that day when I fell off of that roof. And it was what I learned over the next few years after. This was in 2001 when this accident happened. And what that did is it stirred up mental trauma that had been already present in my body. And it really taught me a lot over the next 15, 20 years, dealt with this physical trauma in my body. Because what I realized and what I figured out over the next few years is that when you are carrying mental trauma in your physical body and something like that happens, you get into a physical accident like that, it stirs up the mental stuff that you're carrying in your heart, in your mind, etc. It was like it was dormant in there. And when this accident happened, it stirred it up to the point where I didn't heal. My body didn't fully heal until 2023, actually, which was just a couple years ago now. In 2001, it happened, and I carried this with me: unforgiveness, hatred, revenge, etc. And I kept going to what I would call personal growth seminars, trainings, etc. Did a lot of coaching over the years, and I would always get a little bit of relief. I went through exercises for numerous years that taught me how to forgive and release, release people that have wronged you in your life, forgive and move on. Like, they put me through exercises to do that for a lot of years, and I would always get a little bit of relief. It was like, I like to look at it as like peeling an onion. Onion takes there's a lot of layers. Right. You take one layer at a time, and then you think, okay, I'm good now. I can go I'm free now. I've forgiven this guy or that guy like numerous times. I've forgiven myself, had to forgive myself for past mistakes I had made, business and personal life and marriage, all the things. And at one point I had coughed up blood from 2001 until 2018, I believe it was. So 17 or 18 years that I had coughed up blood. Not every day, but it was like every couple weeks I'd cough up blood. And I had gone to numerous medical doctors, numerous, and I mean numerous, to try to figure this out and see where the blood was coming from. And at one point I had used alcohol to suppress my pain so that I could go to sleep the next day and go to work, because I had so much physical pain and mental pain, and I got addicted to alcohol in the process, because that was my drug of choice to make so that I could sleep at night, to kill the mental and physical pain. But that increased the bleeding, the internal bleeding. That just increased the internal bleeding. Then I got to the point in business where I found myself $1 million in debt. This was in 2011. Between 2001 to 2011, I found myself $1 million in debt, in business debt and personal debt. And that just added to my mental, physical trauma. It weighed me down so much and I didn't even really know how much it was weighing me down until in 2000 and let me see, this was 2011 when I started paying down my debt, because I had to do something. I owed so many people money to the point where nobody would loan me any more money. And so 7 years later, I think it was around about 7 years later, from 2011, 7 years later, I paid off that $1 million in debt with a program that I got on with some mentors that mentored me on how to do this, because I was told that I need to file bankruptcy. I owed the IRS multiple six figures. I owed banks multiple six figures. I owed individuals personal loans multiple six figures. It was such a big mountain that I was told that I will never become debt free if I don't file bankruptcy. And with my personality, I basically said, I'm not filing bankruptcy, because that's not how I was brought up. I was brought up that when you make mistakes in life, my dad always told me, my mom and dad both taught me that if you make mistakes in life, you own up to them, and you don't take the easy way out for life. And that stuck with me. When I found myself $1 million in debt, I'm like, well, I created this debt, so I got to figure out how to pay it back. And I did. Me and my wife, we figured out a way, and I was able to. But the crazy thing that I realized through this is I was in my mind, I thought the more money that I would try to borrow myself out of debt, I was using alcohol, money, addictions, women, stepping out on my marriage. I tried everything to try to suppress my pain that I was mentally, physically dealing with. Had an affair on my wife. It's like I went down every dark path to try to find freedom without facing my mistakes and facing my past in the face until I faced my past square in the face, and I said, okay, I have to go back. I had to go back and apologize to numerous people for wronging them, whether it was financial financial abuse, just abuse in a lot of ways, that I didn't treat people the way that I should have treated them because I was in so much pain. You know, the saying is, hurt people hurt people. Hurting people, if you're hurting mentally or physically, you're going to go hurt other people. And that was so true. And I had to forgive myself multiple times. Even to this day, I have to forgive myself for my past. I got to remind myself that I am not my past. And if I don't forgive myself, what I figured out is if I can't forgive myself and other people and release myself from my past and release other people that have wronged me, I will continue to cycle. I will continue to go back and relive my past and never. It's like a spiral.
Yeah.
And it's like it tries to come back. Even to this day, my alcohol addiction sometimes, not daily, but every once in a while, like it hits me again. Like my addictions, my sexual addictions, my alcohol addictions, my debt addictions want to come back. So I gotta constantly be on guard and remind myself that I am not my past. I am better than that. And I have to focus my mind when I get a thought of wanting to go back into my addictions. I remind myself that that is a garbage thought. Like we gotta really, for me, I gotta be very much on guard all the time to guard my thoughts and be like, okay, is this thought that I'm having right now a productive thought, or is it a garbage thought? And if you entertain those garbage thoughts, the negative ball of energy just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And pretty soon you find I've found myself getting addicted again to alcohol sometimes, and my wife sometimes reminds me, like, hey, what are you doing? You've been drinking again lately. What's bothering you? Where are you going? And I'm like, yes, you are correct. I have been drinking a lot, and yes, I need to stop. I got to reel myself in, stop drinking for a few weeks, and re-examine, why am I drinking? What is bugging me? It's the thoughts are so sly, they creep in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true because, you can just be going on your way and not even thinking about it and just living your best life. And all of a sudden, there'll be this little something in your ear that'll remind you, oh, yeah, that looks good. Yeah, and it'll kind of confuse you and try and lie to you. Oh, yeah, you were so happy back then. Why don't you do this? It made you feel good, kind of thing. Do you find that happens?
Yes, I do find that it happens all the time, actually. It's and then you start justifying. We start justifying with ourselves. We're like, well, I can do it a little bit. I won't get into it as bad as I did 10 years ago or 15 years ago because I'm stronger than that. I think I can handle a little bit. So let's just do a little bit and just keep it to ourselves. Let's just stick a couple toes in the water, not both feet. Let's just stick a couple toes in the water. It ain't gonna hurt. It's not gonna hurt to entertain this a little bit. Well, you know, that's how I got started last time with my addictions, my my getting into uh adultery, fornication, alcohol addictions, being addicted to being in debt. That is actually a thing, or it was for me. I mean, I see where being being in debt can be an addiction. It was for me because it as crazy as it is, we get a certain dopamine rush from spending. It feeds our ego. To go spend money on things that we don't need, things that give us instant gratification. The instant gratification dopamine rush is so how would I say? We live in such an instant gratification society now. Everybody wants instant gratification. And it's marketed to us on a daily basis. The glamour and the glory. Like, I need a bigger house. I need a nicer car to drive. I need a bigger truck. I need a nicer truck. I need I need. No, you don't. You want. Stop freaking telling yourself that you need. What we have to do, what I had to do for myself to this very day is I don't need to go buy me another toy, so to speak. Like I have a car collection. I enjoy fast cars. I love fast cars. And I have to constantly tell myself, I don't need another fast car. I already have like 10 of them. And yeah, it's not like that I didn't. I mean, yeah, I justify it someday. I'm like, well, I earned them. I earned it. I earned my car collection, and I did, rightfully so. But I don't need another fast car to make me happier, because the fast car is not a bad thing. But what's the bad thing is thinking that instant gratification is going to fill that void, when that instant gratification is only going to fill that void for 30 to 60 days, and then you're going to be right back in what's next. We lose our identity when we constantly want to go spend money on something that we don't need to try to impress ourselves and to impress people around us. I would never say that it's bad to have nice things and glamour and all the glory, but we have to balance it. We have to find a balance. Like, how much is enough? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I got it figured out. I'm just saying I've had to learn some really hard lessons. It's sometimes the small things is what really matter. Like, go watch a sunset. Go on a walk. Yeah. Go take a walk in nature. Nature is, nature is sometimes more fulfilling than buying another toy, an expensive toy that you don't need. Go spend more time in nature. Go spend money going to the mountains and go hiking, and I've had to learn that. Go watch a sunset or go watch the sunrise, get up in time to go watch sunrise. That's what really feeds the soul, but that's not, society doesn't market that. That's where the fulfillment is for your to fill your soul. Figure out who you really are at the core. You're not going to figure that out if you're constantly going and spending money on things that just keeps you in debt. Now you lose yourself because you got to go work more. So now you have more payments on glamour, on glamorous things. You have more payments that you got to make. So now we get so caught up in the in the rat race, if you will, in life, because we're buying stuff that we don't need, and it's just stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like we become slaves to that because it's the buying things that make you happy, that give you that instant happiness, and you're so excited, da 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 da. And then you have to go work to pay for it. And if you have, like you said, if you have a lot of debt or a lot that you owe because you've bought these wonderful things, then you have to work that much harder to pay off that debt. When, I mean, I'm not saying that's bad if that's what you want to do, but just be prepared to know what it's going to cost you. You have to, as a human being, as a grown adult, you have to decide what matters to you and what you're willing to do to balance that.
Yeah. Yeah. And, because like you said, we're a slave. I mean, it's a, I don't know. I mean, if you believe in the Bible, whoever's listening to this, I mean, I believe in the Bible, and not that you have to, but the Bible says that, I forget now exactly how it says, but I think it's like something to the effect of the guy that's borrowing the money is a slave to the lender. We are, if we're on the borrowing end, financial realm, borrowing money, we are a slave to the lender until we have him paid back, because we made the debt. Now we got to pay it back. And I got to remind myself of that all the time. If I don't have the money to go buy whatever it is that I want to buy, I'm creating a debt that I got to pay back now. And I'm not saying that all debt is bad. Not all debt is bad. If you're using debt in business to leverage to make more money, if you're not buying a liability, because cars and trucks are a liability if you're not using them for business, because they don't make you money. But yet everybody wants to drive a nice car or a nice truck, the latest and the greatest to look good. Everybody wants to buy the latest and the greatest in clothing, want to look good, feel all these things, well, okay, I mean, do you need to, or are you just doing it to impress society and look like you got your shit together when you really don't? I mean, I don't know, it gets so intertwined.
Yeah.
We got to remember every decision has a consequence, good or bad. So as we wrap this up, I wanted to talk about the book. I wrote a book. It's actually not released yet to the public. Hopefully I'm going to be releasing it in the next week or so. It'll be available online for purchase, and it's called A Warrior's Path to Freedom. I teach in this book some ways of warrior mindset and the things that I had to do in life to find true freedom within. Because there's many ways that we can tell ourselves that if we had this or that or the other, this, that, and the other, we could live a more freeing life. Well, anyway, in this book, I talk about what I had to do in order to find true freedom within my mind, my heart, mental. What I'm talking about is mental. When we're not free mentally, we can look like we're free physically. We can look like we got all our stuff together, but what are we really burying within our heart and mind, body, soul? What addictions are we hiding underneath the surface that we don't want to expose? Because what I had to figure out in my life, when I exposed my addictions to my wife, to my family, to the public, they no longer had as much power over me because I wasn't hiding them. I wasn't hiding my addictions anymore as much. Because exposing your addictions can be really embarrassing, because we think that, whoa, what's society going to think? That nobody else probably ever deals with this. That's really not true. We're all on the same damn planet.
Yep.
We really are. I mean, if you're on planet Earth, that is.
Yes.
So I wrote this book and to help other men and women. I mean, it's really a men's workbook is what it is, but not that women can't read it also if they want to, obviously, but it's a men's workbook, and I give some of my personal story in it, and then in the back of the book there's a journaling section where it asks questions that are deep, very deep questions, and then it gives you a space to journal out your questions. And I do coaching too, so I'd be glad to go through the book with you and help you through the book, because it is, some of the questions that I put in the book are questions that I personally had to dig deep on in my own life and answer them honestly in order to get true freedom. So yeah, it's something that I'm very passionate about, is helping men understand that you can be physically free and have make it look like you're living a good life, but what are you burying mentally? What have you buried mentally that you don't want to talk about? Because that's really where freedom really is your mind. You gotta be honest with yourself.
Yeah. And I like what you just said about, people are hiding their addictions, and how much freer you felt expressing your addictions and just telling your friends, your family, the public. I think that's so important, because we all have addictions. We all have problems. We all have struggles. Because, like you said, we're all on this planet. We're all human beings. And it's important for us not to feel alone in that situation. That just matters so greatly. Have you found that in your personal journey?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, solid. Uh, how would you say, the enemy, if you will, is one of his best tools that he uses on us as human beings is making us feel like we're alone in our addictions, and keeping our addictions in the dark and not exposing them. That is one of the biggest lies ever that the enemy uses on you, to tell you that you better not expose this, because if you do, you're going to be embarrassed and you're going to be in worse shape than ever. That's not true. When you expose an addiction, you truly want to get on the other side of it, whatever it is that you're hiding. That is when true freedom starts to happen. I mean, people might, I had to get to the point where I was at such rock bottom in my life, in every area of my life. I had so much pain. I got to where I didn't care anymore what people thought of me if I exposed my addiction, because I had to do something. Because there was a point in my life where I was suicidal and depressed, majorly depressed and suicidal. And I had to come to grips of, okay, am I going to have a legacy of I'm that guy that committed suicide? Or am I going to be that guy that exposed my things in my mind that I'm battling with, and I'm going to leave a legacy that's worth leaving, you know? it's I had to come to that. I had to come to grips with that. Like, what's my legacy going to be? Am I going to be that guy that made it look like everything on the outside was, I had all my shit together. Everything was cool and hunky dory, but deep down I was hiding a lot of pain. Am I going to be that guy? Like, that committed suicide? Because that's, I mean, I don't think that's what I was created to do, is to kill myself. It's sometimes you got to look at that, come to grips with that stuff. And because I've had friends in the past that have committed suicide, and I didn't see it coming at all. They looked like they had everything together, looked like they had their life together, but it was all a fake front. It was just, it was complete fake. They weren't authentic. They weren't truly authentic with themselves. But they did a good job of making it look like they were, but they didn't expose it because they didn't want to be embarrassed.
Yeah, and that embarrassment that happens a lot, and I feel like it drives our society. The embarrassment, the shame, the guilt, and definitely it makes it like we have to wear a mask. We have to pretend to be something we're not necessarily that we're pretending to be, but that's what society wants us to be. So we feel like that's what we got to be. Did you find that in your journey that you felt that way?
Yeah. Yeah, society is marketing to us that um hide your stuff so that you're not embarrassed, so that you can. But what we got to understand is the two percenters, the 2% at the top that are marketing to society what's cool in society is they market to us what they want, how the life they want us to live, so that we're more controllable, you know. And that's that's a whole other conversation, really. But you know, people that are loaded down with debt and unforgiveness and addictions and all the things, insecurities, creates insecurities. People like that are easier to control because that way you can blackmail them,
Absolutely.
If you're scared of being exposed, that's how they control, you know, that's a, but anyway, it's been good. It's been good having this conversation with you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I want to thank you, Mr. Beechy, for being with us and for sharing your story and your expertise in the situation. Now you said you were a coach, a life coach. If some of our listeners want to get in touch with you to book you, how would they do that?
I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, and I'm on YouTube. I got my own YouTube channel, Instagram. All of the social media sites that I just mentioned are uh, just search my name, which is GLENNBEECHY, Glenn Beechy. GLENN, B as in boy, EECHY. It's just under my name. Just go under my name, and you'll find me on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. And then I also have a Facebook page that I manage. It's called the Warriors Creed. The Warriors Creed Men's Group. Creed is CREED. The Warriors Creed Men's Group. It's on Facebook. The Facebook page. You can find me there as well. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to go through the book and coach you through the book. And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's perfect that you have the men's group. That's so valuable because as a society we need people. We need each other. And I feel like men especially they are not good with their emotions. They're not good with opening up and those kind of things. But you've made a men's group that makes them feel safe and comfortable to where they can do that. And that's just a beautiful thing, Mr. Beachy. So I thank
Yeah,
you for that. And I'm so excited to see where this goes. And thank you so much for joining us today.
absolutely. Good to be here.
All right. And thank you, listeners, for joining us today. And just remember that you do not have to suffer alone.